Okay, so this is the third part in the MGTOW Discipline series. Previously, I've spoken about the plantation and how I recognised it. Now, I think each MGTOW will see the plantation that they are on eventually. So I just gave an example of how I saw the plantation from a system that was going to take the money I've earned and give it to a woman abusing a child that I couldn't protect. And even though I expressed my concerns in a legal manner to the authorities, their answer was, we don't care, we're not interested in anything but the money. So I didn't count, my child didn't count. The only thing that did count was the money going to the abuser of my own child. That was pretty hard to bear, I can tell you that. So discipline in the MGTOW at the moment is make that decision to go MGTOW. Get rid of mainstream media, mainstream influences in your life, and that's basically any media that you're listening to that's not that's coming from mainstream. Just ignore it, just get rid of it. Then you second and step back and evaluate your decision to go MGTOW. Is it the correct decision for you? Should you look for another avenue? You know something's wrong, but MGTOW may not be the answer. It's a difficult life at first. It depends how blue-pilled you are, I think, as to how difficult it can be as a MGTOW. I'm just saying that anecdotally. I don't know for sure, it hasn't been my experience, but I know some people have struggled. Okay, so once you've got that decision, that evaluation made, and now it's time to get some armour, build some resilience within yourself, because now you're on your own and against the world. That's what MGTOW means. You're going your own way, and you've got to arm yourself, you've got to defend yourself, you've got to put in place your inner masculine strengths. You've got to become aware of them. That's going to protect you, and that's the discipline. That's where the discipline comes in. So first of all, my advice is don't tell anyone at all that you will MGTOW. To begin with, don't mention it to especially blue-pilled people. It's none of their business. It's your business. Keep it quiet. Now, I've talked about setting goals and planning how to achieve them. Okay, that's an important thing to understand. You set the goal, until you plan how to get there, it's just a dream. So you've got to have the goal, then you've got to make the plan, and then you've got to implement the plan and evaluate the plan every step of the way until you hit that goal. Now, you are more than likely going to fail to reach some goals. That is part of the journey. You've got to expect failure to occur. It's not a reflection on you as a person. What it is a learning opportunity to find out what went wrong. Be honest with yourself. Be mindful that you can be your worst critic. Right? In other words, remove yourself from the equation as much as you can and just analyze the situation. Were there forces at play outside of your control that enabled you to fail? I'll put it that way. That can be other people, can be hardware related, so some mechanical failure made you not reach your goal. Whatever it is, understand it, and don't throw the goal away. You made the goal for a reason. The goal may be where you need to be, maybe where you need to go. So don't give up. Just evaluate the situation, adapt and overcome the problems or the failure which may have been outside of your control. How can you move it into your control? Mechanical failure, fix the problem, get a spare part, stick it in the machine, keep going. Whatever it is that's caused failure is a learning experience. When you set your next goal, you plan to get there, allow for the possibility of that failure occurring again. Mitigate the issue around it, step over the hurdle, get going again. This is how you become a stronger man as a MGTOW. You learn control of your life, your direction, your aspirations. You learn the strength that's within you to overcome adversity and make it to where you want to be. And it's on a small level and it's on a grand scale. And it's this tenacity that's within all men. This is male nature. This is how Sir Edmund Hillary climbed to the top of Mount Everest in the 1950s. It's how Columbus discovered the New World. It's this strength and tenacity within all men to adapt and overcome any adversity, to strive to reach goals that you have set. And once you've got that feeling of victory over yourself in your struggle, that it's an intoxicating feeling, and it drives you to a better place to attain more and more. You see it within you. It comes from within. It will not come from without. You've got people around you who don't want you to succeed. They will do what they can to thwart your efforts. You've got people who fear that you will succeed, or fear that you won't succeed, and they'll try to stop you from achieving your goals through compassion for you. So you keep this to yourself, and you strive and you struggle. Now, you've got rid of the women around you. but you're a man. You've still got that sex drive that is pushing you on. Now, there's a lot of people who will tell you that pornography is the devil, pornography is bad, pornography needs to be avoided, it saps your strength, it keeps you from a functioning member of society and all the rest of it. Pornography is an outlet for your sexual tension. Now, use it as such. It's not a replacement for women. It is simply, as Bill Burr would put it, rub one out, it's the champagne of victory. So, I don't say that pornography is the goal. It's not a goal to set. It is a way to control your urges, your sexual drive. Prostitution is another one. So, I mean, that's going to cost money. I have an issue with that because I don't want to be paying for sex. It's not something that I particularly want to do. I don't think any amount of money is worth it. So that is a road you can go down. There are also some MGTOW I know who talk about sex robots. It is what it is. That may help. I don't know. I'm not experienced in that area. You'd have to get advice from someone else regarding the sex robots, or the lifelike sex dolls that they sell. I understand you can customize them to what appeals to you. It is a way to stay on top of things in a metaphorical sense, I guess. But I can say pornography helped me in my monk mode. Your nuts get full, and you got to have that release, So that's part of the discipline, in my opinion, is to work a strategy out for how you're going to deal with that sexual impulse in your life. Now, once you're into this monk mode, you're not going to be able to get all of the women out of your life. If you're working, you've got women in your work environment, and just walking down the street, walking down the shopping mall, there are obviously going to be women everywhere. Now, understand this. When you are in public, in those situations, the women are keyed into you, validating them and their appearance. Right? They want to know that they can attract your attention. Your attention is not free. Your attention is valuable. You should not give it away. You're not going to get anything in return for it. You're monk mode. Right? So this is another step along the way in the discipline. When you see the woman coming towards you, you're like walking towards you, you're walking towards them. They are wanting to know if you're looking at them. Don't look at them. Okay, let something else in your vision distract you from her or them. It might be a group of women. Let your focus, if you're in a shopping mall, the the first bright light you see in your peripheral vision, look at that, look away from them. Another thing, do not avoid the physical contact with them. So if you're on the same walking path, avoid, move to the left and move to the right. And don't just step around them. Change your path. So, and it might be towards whatever it was you let your attention be drawn to, aside from the women. And do not at all ever smile at them or make eye contact with them. Do not look in their direction. Look away. Deliberately look away. It means that they'll pick up, they'll cue in that they have failed to attract your attention and failed to get your validation. That will be what they perceive this as. You've got to learn, like this takes discipline and practice to achieve, because your eye is naturally attracted to the shape of women. You know, as a man, that's what you're naturally attracted to, and so you've got to overcome this this habit that you have of allowing yourself to validate for free of any woman. You avoid them, avoid eye contact, avoid physical contact, avoid any sort of interaction in a non-verbal or verbal sense with all women in public. Right? Women you don't know, and you're not going to give them the time of day. Right? Now it's hard to do it, but it's doable. I'll give you a little story here about how, having followed this principle for many years, I realized that I finally got to the point where I'd overcome this conditioning where I was giving free validation to strange women I didn't know. So one day after work, I'm sitting on the train station waiting for a connecting train, and I'd left work slightly early, so I was getting an earlier train. And here's this girl. She's standing probably 10 feet away from me, and I'm sitting down on the bench, you know. And she is a schoolgirl. She's obviously finished school for the day. She's waiting for a train. She's obese, and she is clutching what in Australia they call it a Chico roll. It's just basically fat and carbohydrates that are sort of made to look like a sausage inside a pastry. And I call them a cholesterol roll rather than a Chico roll. And she was eating one and had another one clutched in her hand, you know. And she was squirting tomato sauce on the end of the sausage and then scoffing it in her mouth. And it was, what it made me look at this was the way she was eating it, her body language as she ate it, and and the obesity that was obvious, you know. And I'm thinking, this girl got out of school, she's got hold of these Chico rolls, and she's eating them before she gets home, and then she can tell her parents, oh look, you know, I don't know how my weight is not being controlled, you know. Like, she's doing it. There was more in her psychology than just I'm hungry. This was a way of her to maintain her obesity you know, and obviously her parents are going to be concerned about it. So yeah, it looked off to me. It was just something weird about it. And I've got to say, in the day there was a light drizzle. It was just sort of slightly raining. So the train comes, and this girl gets on before me, and she takes 2 steps onto the train and then slips over and crashes onto the ground in front of me. And I completely resisted all impetus to help this girl. Now, and why should I? I don't know her, and she's got some kind of glycemic high or something. She's just off her nut on this food, and so it's all self-induced, whatever it is. It's obviously physically uncoordinated with the weight issue, and so she's on her hands and knees on the ground in front of me. Couldn't give a fuck. Just waited for her to get up. I was just sort of thinking, get up, just get up and move, get onto a seat, get out of my fucking way, in my head. And I sat down in a seat. She sat down in a seat not far from me. And then, because there's cameras everywhere on trains, we've got the conductor and some other woman come walking down the train, and they've said something to this girl. I can't remember what they said, but showed some sort of concern for her, and then moved on, and she's just on her own. She's an equal. She's equal to all men, probably better than all men. Just let her live her life, and if she wants to eat cholesterol rolls on the way home from school, up to her decision. Well, got nothing to do with us. So that occurred to me at the time that, yep, I'm fully MGTOW now. We're just like, I've got to the point where women are invisible to me. I don't think of them as special people with special needs and special dispensations and abilities and all the rest of it. They're just women, and most of the time they're just in my way. Let's face it, just get out of the fucking way, let me get going. My opinion is Western women deserve no better than that. They want to live their lives free from any sort of criticism from men, free from, you're not entitled to, as a man, to give your opinion on whatever it is women are doing or thinking or saying, even when they're calling for the death of all men. So, yep, if that's the way you want it, that's fine by me. I'm going my way. Please get out of the way so I can get going. And if you're not going to, I'll just go around you anyway, so it doesn't matter. You don't have to be courteous to me, and I can reciprocate the non-courtesy to you. Free from any sort of thoughts of contrition on that point, because I'm MGTOW. I don't want to be a part of this society that you condone. So that's discipline number 3, is to make the women invisible, and you'll work out your own strategy with it. But know that your time and your validation of women is valuable, and it's not to be given away freely, especially to the women in the West. They don't deserve it. So work on, once you're monk mode, work on how to make women invisible. Now, that will lead you on to the 4th part of the MGTOW journey, and that is the transcendence of all hatred towards women through the red pill rage. Women, you become indifferent to women. You don't see them as a potential mate. They're just another person who generally wants something from you, and you don't have to give it to them, right? By the time you're in that fourth stage, you're MGTOW, you are a single unit capable of achieving your goals, of moving forward in life and being successful as a single solitary unit. And you come to the realization that there's nothing that a single determined man can't achieve on this planet. Nothing. Now, you may not achieve it all by yourself. You may have to employ others to do the grunt work, but you have you realize that the masculine power within you to achieve whatever goals, and I'm talking about big goals, that you want to achieve, and you're focused and you're indifferent to women. They're not going to be any kind of distraction. It's the fourth stage of MGTOW. We'll get onto that in the next video.